lot of nuts!
Welcome back, hyenas, and I hope you have your passports because you need to show them to me if you want to watch this video. I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but as of late last week, YouTube made an announcement saying that they would be adding AI age verification in order to use AI to estimate, based on your viewing habits, whether or not you are above or under the age of 18 or 13 in order to better accommodate what you're allowed to watch on YouTube. There has been an absolute storm of adult protection, children protection, changes to the internet to make it so that certain aspects of it are censored to the general public or those under the age of 18 or 13 or 16 or whatever. And it feels like it's all happening basically overnight. It almost feels as if there must be some sort of conspiratorial event, somebody behind the scenes that's pulling the strings to make it so that so many of these things are now being required in basically within a week of each other. We had the censorship of adult video games on Steam and on itch.io, which, as much as it seems like is related to everything else that's going on, isn't. That was yet again just a group of soccer moms in Australia emailing in order to try to get them to ban titties from video games because they have nothing better to do. You might think that has something to do with the Child Safety Act that is currently passed in the UK and is set to also be implemented into the US, that makes it so that adult porn websites would require you to have some sort of age verification, more so than just checking a checkbox. You would need to provide either your webcam access so that they can analyze your face, in a lot of instances using AI, or upload your government ID to prove that you are over the age of 18. Somehow this YouTube thing is also unrelated to that. Now, the first instances that I saw of social media, YouTube specifically, implementing some sort of age verification wasn't actually with YouTube. The first post that I saw on this was actually Spotify, of all things. Somebody posted a screenshot here that showcased that they need to check your age in order to be able to access some content on Spotify, the music listening application. Nobody's even watching videos there, to my knowledge. I am aware they do have a video hosting podcasting website. Nobody fucking watches videos on Spotify, though. You need to be over the age of 18? I mean, I understand that, like, you know, explicit warnings exist on the cover of like album covers and what have you to let you know that that CD is going to have some real wild shit and you might need to not be 4 years old to buy that Snoop Dogg album. But Spotify specifically requiring you to upload your ID or to take a picture of your face in order to verify that you are over the age of 18, honestly, kind of made sense to me. Now, for the record, I'm not saying that I think you need to prove you're over the age of 18 to listen to music. What I am saying is that I feel like I remember a number of controversies with the album artwork in the Spotify app over the course of the last few years that led me to believe that alongside all of the other places on the internet where pornographic material seems to be more heavily censored, requiring more restrictions in order for people to access, Spotify was definitely one of those things. I actually have a post here from 2021 with somebody stating that they want to be able to change the album cover so that they don't inadvertently view pornographic artwork, because a lot of the album covers that they randomly stumble across have naked anime girls or just straight up nudity as the album cover, and I guess they don't want to experience that on their music viewing platform. Not just that, but Spotify actually also had this debacle from back in, I guess, last year, where evidently if you searched up Young M.A., the hip-hop artist, nestled between the results for rapper Young M.A. would also be a pornographic video under the videos tab, and evidently it was a whole thing with people just randomly finding porn videos on Spotify. I told you they had a video feature. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Spotify. We're here to talk about the changes to YouTube, because evidently that's going to kick off on August 13th. They have a date set at which point they will be implementing this AI age verification thing. And there's two aspects to this that most people are finding pretty ridiculous. First of all, the introduction of age verification whatsoever, whether it be through AI age verification or whether it be through uploading an ID of yourself. YouTube, of all places, that doesn't really necessarily let you host pornographic videos. I mean, obviously we're all aware of like the see-through clothing and the naked cleaning and the naked yoga that YouTube has been known for, but everybody's pretty much in agreement that that stuff shouldn't exist on YouTube, because YouTube is very much supposed to be a place that isn't for adult material. Therefore, you would imagine it would be the last place where you need to prove that you're over the age of 18 in order to be able to watch your latest Frederick Knudsen video essay. But it's not just the fact that they're requiring you to be over the age of 18 in order to access some stuff. Currently, you can't make an account if you're under the age of 13. YouTube will ban you if you're like a 10-year-old uploading videos and the account is under your name and not technically under your parents or whatever. The really interesting thing about the YouTube situation is that they're saying that they're going to use AI to try to figure out what age you are based on what you're watching. This is blog.youtube. It's like the really boring adult update side of YouTube that nobody pays attention to unless you're like a YouTuber that helps other YouTubers grow their YouTube channels. And in an announcement that they made last week, they said, "We will use AI to interpret a variety of signals to help us determine whether a user is over or under 18. These signals include the types of videos a user is searching for, the category of videos they have watched, or the longevity of the account." Now, a lot of people are just sort of saying, hey, I watch a bunch of fucking anime supercuts. I watch a bunch of stuff that might not necessarily be considered adult material. If I'm watching queso VODs and my YouTube search history is nothing but Roblox challenges, is YouTube suddenly going to mark my account as an account that is a child's and then prevent me from being able to watch, I don't know what people over the age of 18 watch on YouTube. Video essays, I guess. Now, before we get to talking about just how ridiculous this implementation is, let's take one quick step to the other side of it and play just the tiniest bit of devil's advocate. Because YouTube, unlike porn websites, has generally had a pretty long-standing issue with the FTC about the way that it handles the information and ads that it serves when it comes to children's content. Obviously, YouTube has had a number of debacles in which it has had issues with the FTC, and as a result has already introduced implementations in order to prevent children's content from leaking into main sphere YouTube. If you make content on YouTube that is for children, you need to mark it as such, and as a result, there are no ads that run on it. You can't comment on the video, and they do all of this in order to prevent any sort of predatory behavior to the best of their ability, to the best of my knowledge, right? They have an entire kids safety situation going on with YouTube videos, as I'm sure you guys are familiar, given their history of things like ElsaGate and predatory behavior in the comments, YouTube Wake Up, and whatever. There have been so many different issues that YouTube has had with child safety on their website. It only makes sense that as the internet seems to all collectively be tightening its grip around censorship, around adult material, that YouTube would follow suit. But enough pretending we're all stupid for the sake of kind of making sense of what YouTube is doing. YouTube is not a porn website. It makes sense for a porn website to require you to be over the age of 18, and maybe we've gotten to the point in the history where checking a checkbox and hey, just trust me, bro, isn't good enough verification if we're gonna take children seeing adult material on the internet seriously. That almost makes sense over there, but again, it's a slippery slope that we've talked about at length at this point. But YouTube, you don't need to be over the age of 18 to access YouTube. YouTube has a separate app that you download on your phone called YouTube Kids if you want to just watch Cocomelon and what have you. They already have safety guidelines in place with the videos on the platform. This feels like the last place where it would be required for you to prove that you're over the age of 18 to be able to view stuff that isn't for people. Like, what even is a video for somebody over the age of 18 on YouTube? True crime documentaries, medical procedures? Like, nobody's thinking of that. Like, this very clearly feels like the same thing as YouTube has always done, which is if you swear a few too many times, your video's not going to be approved for the general public. And this is just an extension of that. A big issue that people have with this implementation of age verification on YouTube is it feels like a band-aid fix for an issue that YouTube has had for like decades at this point. The rampant porn ads that are running in front of YouTube that I've heard of. Again, I've never seen an ad in my life because I pay for YouTube Premium, but that I've heard of, that are like suggestive or advertising AI sex bots or chat websites, the number of cartoon characters that are drawn in lewd, basically pornographic styles that are used as thumbnails for videos. This is stuff that YouTube has had on their platform forever and seemingly hasn't made any significant changes to try to fix. These are a few pictures just from the front page of r/YouTube of people upset at this. Is like somebody's homepage. I don't know what the fuck you're watching to get these recommendations, but this is crazy. This is a X animation on YouTube that's very clearly just children's cartoon characters with as much, you know, bikini ass and suggestive imagery as possible. Like, this is what people see on YouTube just looking up videos, right? And we can agree that that shouldn't be allowed, right? But rather than making any sort of changes that makes it so that these guys don't make money or de-incentivize them enough, ban their accounts or whatever to get this from stop existing on YouTube, it feels like YouTube is going in the complete opposite of direction of going, hey, if they're gonna have weirdly sexual stuff targeted towards kids, let's just make sure everybody's over the age of 18. That fixes the problem, right? It feels hypocritical, right? It feels hypocritical. And this is sort of my point in saying that YouTube is different from a porn website. Where on a porn website, you shouldn't be there whatsoever if you're under the age of 18. So by all means, take all the verification that you want to make sure that somebody is of age to view something that would be illegal otherwise if you weren't of age, right? But YouTube is like a library. You know, there's going to be some stuff in there that isn't for fucking 12-year-olds, but there's also going to be stuff that's going to be there for adults. And that's just the nature of having a communally sourced resource of information and entertainment. That's like how it works. And if you want to make an effort to make sure that children aren't exposed to material that's adult or pornographic in nature, that's not my fucking job. You run the website. You do that. This raises a bit of an interesting conundrum on YouTube's end. Because on one hand, it doesn't really make sense. And I know that it feels like I've said all of this doesn't make sense, but I mean for YouTube to introduce this sort of age verification. As I stated earlier, YouTube, because of their issues with the FTC and children's protection on their website and everything, they don't run targeted ads on children's content. They don't let children under the age of, I guess it's 18, I thought it was 13, comment on videos, like videos, using this new AI verification thing that's going to try to guess your age to know if you're over or under the age of 18. Starting August 13th, if you are determined to be under the age of 18, your account will be limited. You won't be allowed to like videos. You won't be allowed to comment on videos. And this is obviously in an effort to stop people from being groomed in the comments section of a YouTube video. As silly as that is to say, that is a real thing, that like certain videos end up being like hubs of like pedophiles communicating with each other through code speak and what have you. So that bit makes sense. But why would YouTube do that? Aside from obviously keeping children safe, which we can agree this has nothing to do with that, YouTube doesn't make money on kids watching YouTube videos. They can't like the video, they can't comment on the video, the two major interactions that people have that show that they want to see more of that video. They also don't get targeted ads. So if your account is determined to be under the age of 18, now YouTube knows that your account is a child's account. Does that effectively mean that you won't see any targeted ads if you're under the age of 18? A, free YouTube Premium, fuck it. Let's say I'm under 18. I don't want to see ads either. But B, now you've taken an entire selection of your audience that you otherwise were just sort of a gray area, whatever. If we don't know if they're a kid because they're not watching Cocomelon, we can just not run ads on Cocomelon, and then just that channel isn't going to make any money. But now that you know that the users are under the age of 18, now anything that they watch, you're just going to cut off that revenue. You're just not going to make money from that, what I guess is a large selection of your audience, now that you've proven through AI that they're under the age of 18. That feels stupid even for YouTube, right? The really interesting bit of YouTube's introduction of age verification versus Spotify and Twitter, I mean, even Discord at one point required you to upload an ID or show your webcam so they could figure out your age through AI so that you could access 18 plus Discords, right? None of that's completely new. But YouTube specifically saying that they would use AI to try to determine a user's age through their watch history and their searches is kind of hilarious. Like, obviously YouTube has all the data in the world on what you watch. Like, they know what you're thinking before you're gonna think it. They're as good as Amazon or Facebook when it comes to targeted ads. I'm sure to the nerds over at the data center, they're thinking, hey, we can very easily guess whether or not you're over or under the age of 18 based on what you watch. But the second that that gets implemented, aren't kids just gonna do this meme here? Aren't they just gonna autoplay ISIS beheadings for the 8 hours that they're sleeping so that YouTube thinks that they're not a 14-year-old who wants to watch whatever they want to on YouTube, but are instead a 75-year-old guy in Nebraska who puts tinfoil on his head every time he leaves the house, clearly based on his watch history? Isn't that a little ridiculous? Much like the issues going on with the Child Safety Act over in the UK, where it seems as though they're not only making it so that age verification is required for you to be able to access things like social media, but they also seem to be banning are working to ban people's ability to access VPNs to be able to circumvent this ID verification, meaning they're very much trying to get a complete grip on what you're allowed to watch. If you're seeing something on the internet, it is no longer free speech, free information, peer-to-peer from one person to another based on you deciding you want to watch what somebody else has to say. Rather, it's now got to go through the filter of the fucking government and whether or not they think it's okay for you to think it's okay to watch that stuff. And somehow, it seems to have leaked its way into even YouTube. This is Reddit user Raya Riot showcasing that they were browsing YouTube Shorts, which is, I don't know why anybody does that, but YouTube prompted them with the fact that they detected that they had a VPN. And so they weren't able to continue watching YouTube unless they disabled their VPN, evidently to turn off your VPN or proxy to allow YouTube to locate the best content. That's right, if we think you're in Malaysia, we can't show you the Minecraft speedruns that you want to watch. We have to know where you live. Obviously, this is incredibly frustrating as a YouTuber. Like, personally, my YouTube account is 17 years old or something like that, right? So I'm not particularly worried about YouTube restricting my ability because they're under the impression that I'm a child under the age of 18. But rather, it feels like YouTube has a weird mixed identity with what it wants its content creators to make on the platform and the sorts of videos that it wants to host on the platform, right? It's like YouTube has done so many things to make it seem as if your videos need to be kid friendly. Everything needs to be hypercut edited so that it feels as fast as a TikTok, because that's what all the zillennials are watching nowadays. You can't swear because kids can't listen to swear words, and advertisers won't pay if they're swear words because then kids can't watch it. You have to do all of these things. You can't show nudity, you can't talk about adult topics, all of these things on the internet, right? YouTube did all of these changes in order to make it so that content creators were very much incentivized to make their videos as kid-friendly as possible, only to then turn around and make it so that kids effectively can't interact with those videos whatsoever with this new implementation. It's like, what are we doing here? It's for those reasons that I feel like there's no way this is a change that YouTube decided to make on their own accord. Obviously, the timing alongside the Child Safety Act and all of the different changes they're making with censorship on the internet as a whole should probably make that obvious. But for everything that we just discussed, it doesn't make a ton of sense for YouTube to suddenly be like, you know what? No kids on YouTube whatsoever, when they've spent decades basically marketing to them, whether they want to admit it or not. But everything that I've seen about what the actual guiding hand behind this, it just, I don't know, is the reality. Who is it that is deciding that the entirety of the internet needs to be sanitized, or that restrictions on adult content need to be backed up with a government issued ID or a picture of your face? Obviously, we can say mass surveillance. Obviously, we can say that they just want to have a better control of censorship over what you do and do not have access to in terms of the information that you get on the internet, with it being the biggest newspaper that everybody and their mother uses to learn about anything about the world. I've seen a few people say that it must be AI companies, given that so many of these age verification systems seem to be driven by AI. They all say that they're AI-driven age verification, that it's robots and algorithms that are automating the system in order to determine your age, and perhaps in that way it makes it so that AI is artificially inflated to be more valuable than it seems to be. But even then, I don't know if the guys running AI have enough hold to make it so that every website and country is suddenly beholden to using their product in order to implement a law that I don't feel like they have the power to push into Congress and get passed as quickly as it has done. But again, I'm not a smart guy. I'm just a dude with a camera. When in doubt, follow the money, right? At the end of the day, YouTube is a company. And as much as I feel like them making it harder for children to be able to watch and like and comment on videos, leading to them getting less viewership on those videos because kids are a huge chunk of who watches YouTube videos, I must be wrong somewhere, because clearly YouTube, as big of a company as they are, wouldn't make a change that is going to randomly cost them millions and millions of dollars in ad revenue. That doesn't make any sense. It's got to be that they've got a bigger picture here, or they think this isn't actually going to do anything to the viewership. At the end of the day, like, it's AI. Like, it's fucking stupid. It's gonna require you to upload an ID to prove that you're over the age of 18, and people are gonna upload a fucking picture of SpongeBob SquarePants' boating license with fucking an old man taped in front of SpongeBob, and the AI is gonna be like, yep, you look old enough, and this is effectively gonna do nothing. That being said, August 13th. We'll see what the situation is. I'm excited to see the screenshots of people, because I imagine my account's probably not going to get tagged for any of this because it's as old as it is. But I'm excited to see what, I mean, I'm not excited for this change, but given that I can't do anything about it other than make a stupid video bitching about it like I do every week, I'm excited to see how bad this goes. I'm excited to see the memes that people are going to make and just how horrendous this implementation is going to be, because A, it's not going to fucking work, and B, even if it does work, as I said earlier, it's a band-aid fix for a bunch of issues that YouTube still has not taken the time to remedy. You're getting literal porn ads in the advertisements of the YouTube videos. You've got porn bots in the comments with nudity in their profile picture. You've got lewd, suggestive, borderline pornographic children's cartoon characters in the thumbnails of videos, clearly designed just to get the clicks of children who are curious and are clicking on it. You should probably deal with that, because that's on your website. Requiring people to have an ID to prove that they're over the age of 18 to watch the sort of shit nobody even wants to watch that. You should probably deal with that first. Anyway, that's everything that I think is about the YouTube age verification thing so far, but remember to subscribe so you don't miss my videos updating you on anything interesting that happens going forward. A like on this video helps out a ton. A big thank you to the patrons supporting the show, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow probably. Peace.